Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana Sodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajanarandana Sodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Jaya Radha Giri Radhe Radha Giri Radhe Radhe Jaya Radha Giri Radhe Radha Giri Radhe Radhe Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Jaya Vishnu Paraman Shri Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Radhagiri Hari Bhagavan Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. Yeah, yep, I take that. But I need the book stand. Oh boy. I'll use this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Morning, we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 30, Text 23. Sudaya Shantaya Namaspanishtaya Manasya Partam Vilasad Vayaya Namo Jagatstana Layodayeshu Grihitamaya Guna Vigrahaya Sudaya Shantaya Namaspanishtaya Manasya Partam Vilasad Vayaya Namo Jagatstana Layodayeshu Grihitamaya Guna Vigrahaya. Coming up.
Sudaya Santaya Namasanistaya Manasya Partham Vilasadvayaya Namo Jagatstana Layodayesu Vihitamaya Guna Vigrahaya Manasya Partham Vilasadvayaya Namo Jagatstana Layodayesu Vihitamaya Guna Vigrahaya.
Vaishnavi? Anasya Partam Vilasadvayaya Namo Jagatstana Layodayeshu Grihitamaya Vigrahaya Sudaya Shantaya Namaspanishtaya Manasya Partam Vilasadvayaya Namo Jagatstana Layodayeshu Grihitamaya Guna Vigrahaya Sudaya unto the unadulterated. Shantaya, unto the most peaceful. Namaha, we offer our obeisances. Panishtaya, by being situated in one's position. Manasi, in the mind. Aparatam, without any meaning. Vilasat, appearing. Vayaya, in whom the dual world. Namaha, obeisances. Jagat, of the cosmic manifestation. Thana, maintenance. Laya, annihilation. Udayeshu, and for creation. Grihita, accepted. Maya, material. Guna, of the modes of nature. Vigrahaya, the forms. Translation. Dear Lord, we beg to offer our obeisances unto you. When the mind is fixed upon you, the world of duality, although a place for material enjoyment, appears meaningless. Your transcendental form is full of transcendental bliss. We therefore offer our respects unto you. Your appearances as Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva are meant for the purpose of creating, maintaining, and annihilating this cosmic manifestation. Purport. Pure devotee, whose mind is always engaged in the service of the Lord, can certainly appreciate the impermanence of this material world. Although such a devotee may be engaged in executing material activities, this stage is called anashakti. As explained by Srila Rupa Goswami, anashaktasya vishayan jatahan upayunjata. A devotee is always unattached to material activities because in the liberated stage, his mind is always fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. This material world is called Dvaita, the world of duality. The devotee knows very well that everything within this material world is but a manifestation of the Supreme Lord's energy. To maintain the three modes of material nature, the Supreme Lord takes on different forms as Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. Unaffected by the modes of material nature, the Lord takes on different forms to create, maintain, and annihilate this cosmic manifestation. The conclusion is that although the pure devotee appears to engage in material activities in the service of the Lord, he knows very well that material enjoyment for sense gratification has no use whatsoever. Sudaya Shantaya Namasmanishtaya Manasya Partam Vilasadvayaya Namo Jagatstana Layodayeshu Grihita Maya Guna Vigrahaya. Dear Lord, we beg to offer our obeisances unto you. When the mind is fixed upon you, the world of duality, although a place for material enjoyment, appears meaningless. Your transcendental form is full of transcendental bliss. We therefore offer our respects unto you. Your appearances as Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva are meant for the purpose of creating, maintaining, and annihilating this cosmic manifestation. A very interesting section of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of the Prachetas, who were the sons of King Prachinibhaishat. And of course, previously, we know that Narad Muni visited King Prachinibhaishat, and although he was a good king, he was very attached to the performing yagyas, especially fruitive yagyas for elevation to the higher planets, and so on and so forth, different types of yagyas. So Narad Muni wasn't completely satisfied with these activities of the king. And although one may be elevated by these yagyas, still one remains in the entanglement of the material world, no matter on Earth or even in the heavenly planets or in other species of life, whatever the case may be for the individual life after life. So the king was engaged in these activities, but Narad Muni, having the compassion for the king, King Prachinibhaishat, appeared before him and started to give the story, an allegorical story of King Puranjana. He told the story of a king he called him Puranjana, about how he was very attached and entangled in material activities. And so that was the previous chapter. So it's a very interesting story. Now the Prachetas are executing the order of their father to perform tapasya have gone previous to this, they've gone to a vast inland lake, huge, according to the description, it's actually a saltwater lake, but it's kind of inland a little bit, and it's very vast. And they thought, now this was in another age where people could perform a great tapasyas and had mystic cities and all sorts of things. And the Prachetas, of course, being the sons of a king, were very advanced in all sorts of things like that. They performed tapasya for a long time. I think the description was 10,000 years. Of course, at that time, people lived a lot longer. I'm not sure if this was Satyuga. I'm not sure which age it was. But, in the Satyuga, people lived for 100,000 years. But still, 10,000 years is significant. Let's say we live for 100 years in Kali, that would be 10 years of your life in tapasya. That's quite significant. And they went to the sea and they went in the ocean. They went in the ocean. Who was that sage that went under the Jamuna? Huh? Can't hear. Yeah. So there's many instances of yogis who could go under the water and just stay under the water, and by their practice of the yoga, they could reduce their breathing and just stay under the water. I remember even as kids, we used to do this just in competition. How long can you stay under the water? How long can you hold your breath for? And so we'd go under the water, and you could actually go down to the bottom and sit there. We'd all be looking at each other and seeing who was going to break first. So, you could only, of course, you could only last a minute or two or something like that. I don't know. But these yogis, by slowing down their breathing, and they could stay there almost indefinitely. So this is what the Prachetas did. They went under there, and they were sitting on the bed of the saltwater lake, and they practiced austerities. Now, before that, they were going on their way there. Interesting story is that they were instructed to do that and meditate on the Supreme Personality of God. And Lord Shiva came there. Apparently, where they went was an area where Lord Shiva frequented. Some descriptions it was actually his kind of abode or something, but at least where he frequented. And he was going there with the whole entourage. And they were very fortunate that they had the darshan of Lord Shiva. So Prabhupada actually mentions there that, just to have the darshan of the Supreme Personality of God, even the deity form, and what to speak of, directly the form of descending to the world, the form of the Lord, is very, very, very difficult. And having darshan of Lord Shiva is similarly very, very difficult. So they were blessed that Lord Shiva came there, and he revealed that he knew they were coming there because his all-knowing type of personality is practically non-different from the Supreme Personality of God. So he's an all-knowing personality. He liked the boys. He actually, in the previous chapters, there was a description that I'm very pleased with you. You are united in your purpose, in that you want to perform tapasya, you want to glorify the Supreme Lord, and I'm very happy with you. And I want to give my blessings to you, and I want to instruct you how to offer nice prayers to the Lord, and in meditation and in praise of the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of God. So in that particular chapter, I was reading how such nice prayers of Lord Shiva, that quite a few of them, one after the other, that Lord Shiva, and full of praise of the Lord, but also giving philosophical understanding of the Lord's position and the Lord's functions and so on and so forth. Just like it's mentioned here that he appears, and as Lord Vishnu in the world for the maintenance, and Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva for as far as the guna, the modes of nature, and he appears in different ways. So these prayers of that Lord Shiva instructed the boys, the Prachetas, he was very happy with these boys, and he wanted to bless them. He said, these are nice prayers. You recite these prayers. It's always actually most beneficial for especially beginning devotees to recite the prayers of the advanced devotees. the advanced devotees, especially prayers given by Lord Shiva. Because, as beginning devotees, we don't know perfectly, what is the right type of prayer, what is the right rasa. Maybe we want to offer something. It's not that it is forbidden. One can offer prayers individually and make a prayer that is acceptable. But if one wants to offer a very sublime prayer with full of meaning and deep and full of rasa and everything like that, the right rasa is not rasa basa. You're not saying something that you're meaning to be nice, but actually it's not quite right, and you didn't get it. You actually became maybe even a bit offensive in your prayer that you didn't address the Supreme Lord properly or whatever. So you can make a mistake, especially in the beginning stages, and that's therefore advised that beginning devotees, we recite the prayers just like we have Dhammadarashtaka. Yesterday I went over to school, Govardhan Ashtaka. There was a recital, a very beautiful recital by the children, unbelievable. They knew it off by heart. Prayers of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, so many prayers glorifying Govardhan. And it's a very long prayer. And the children played very nice harmonium and recited the prayers in a nice meter, everything like that. And just by heart they recited. So many. I was told later on they'd been practicing for quite some time, but still, it was a very, very impressive, beautiful prayer. So we have very nice prayers, Dhammadarashtaka, Govardhanashtaka, so many nice Govinda, Mari Purusham, And so the devotees, beginning devotees are advised that you recite these prayers because these are very sublime prayers offered by Lord Brahma, offered by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Dhammadarashtaka, and great devotees have composed these prayers. The other day I was giving a class on Narottam Das Thakur, half-hour songbook. There's so many nice songs by Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. These are very exalted acharyas, very exalted devotees. So they're wonderful, full of rich meaning and full of love and affection and so on and so forth. So devotees, we recite these prayers. If someone can offer their own heartfelt, simple prayer, especially if you try to get a little bit more complex in the beginning stages of devotional service, it's not at all advisable. Indeed, we've read that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was disapproving. He used to get Swarup Damodar. So many people would present things to Lord Chaitanya. I've written this prayer, I've written this poem, and so many people would want to present things to Lord Chaitanya. He would get Swarup Damodar to read them first because they may not be composed properly. Maybe there's, as I said, a rasa basta or something like that. And so he would screen them, in other words. Otherwise, he may have to listen to all sorts of things that are not quite right. Maybe some impersonal tinge in there, so on and so forth. I was just reading the other day about the different levels of Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma can be of different categories. It can be someone can attain a Brahma more on the Karma Kanda section and become a Lord Brahma. If one performs a lot of yajnas and so on, it's even more than Indra. One can be become a Lord Brahma, and that's called the Karma Kanda Lord Brahma. He attains that position, and then one can become jnana from his study and assimilation of everything, and due to his tapasya and everything, can become a Lord Brahma. And one can become through his bhakti, become a Lord Brahma. This is considered the highest stage of someone who's a Lord Brahma. But Vishwanath Chakrabarti very kindly describes that even that stage of the highest stage of someone who's become a Lord Brahma through bhakti, that can be divided. There's someone who's become a Lord Brahma who is not quite perfect in their bhakti. They're feeling a little bit independently powerful. They're a devotee, but they're feeling a little bit independently powerful. And all those different levels, they don't go, at the end of their life, they don't go back home immediately, back to Godhead. They're given different positions. Sometimes they come back as a Lord Brahma until they attain that full perfection. We know that our current Lord Brahma, he's attained full perfection by the mercy of the Lord. And at the end of his life, he goes back home, back to Godhead. He's so advanced devotee. So he was very fortunate getting the blessings of the Lord. Here, the Prachetas are getting the blessings of Lord Shiva, and he's giving them prayers and mantras to chant, very wonderful prayers, just like a very Nama Pankaja Nabhaya. I mean, beautiful prayers. Who can make these sorts of prayers Bhuta Sukshmendri Atmane Vasudevaya Shantaya Kuta Staya Svarochise, and then so many like that. These are like out of the Vedas type of, Nama Pankaja Nabaya, so many prayers like that. Nama Pankaja, Nabaya. These are very wonderful prayers. So he gives these types of prayers, and there are many of them. My Lord, you are the origin of the creation by virtue of the lotus flower which sprouts from your navel. So he's giving a little bit of philosophy as well in the prayers, glorifying the Lord, but in the prayers, a little bit of philosophy of the position of the Lord and the function of the Lord as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So these prayers are, and this Nabaya means like that, Pankaja Nabaya, unto the personality of God at whose navel the lotus flower emanates. So very beautiful prayer. So Prabhupada actually comments here that one who recites these mantras and prayers given by great personality, these prayers by themselves, if you read them somewhere, just like our Hare Krishna mantra, is very powerful. But anyone who recites it, but Prabhupada explains that when the mantra is given and chanted on and then delivered by a very advanced devotee, then the mantra becomes even more powerful. Because the devotee infuses his devotion and energy into that mantra, and the mantra, who is a person ultimately, who is Krishna, becomes very happy being delivered by this particular advanced devotee and blossoms even more. So it's very, very important that although anyone can chant Hare Krishna and make advancement, when one goes to the stage of getting initiation and receives the mantra from the elevated guru, whether first or Gayatri mantra, these mantras even have more potency than if you just read them. You can read these mantras in the Shastras. A Gayatri mantra is there. Many people in India, of course, know what is there's so many different types of Gayatri mantras. We have our Gaudiya Gayatri mantra. But you can read these things in the Shastras. So if someone can read them, they have effect, they're mantras. But when they're received by the Guru, who is in the Parampara, coming given by the Supreme Lord, and then coming given by Guru after Guru after Guru, what type of power is that mantra? And you get that mantra. What type of power is that mantra? So Prabhupada very nicely emphasizes this point that Lord Shiva, out of his causeless mercy, he didn't have to come there and meet with the Prachetas, but he's a very compassionate personality. And so he voluntarily came there. There was no impetus, someone asking him to do it. No, he came there very voluntarily, and he gave this instruction to the Prachetas. And so they were very nice boys, very pure boys, and they very much appreciated the instruction of Lord Shiva. They weren't puffed up. Sometimes can be the case, especially princes, princesses, royal family, aristocratic family can be puffed up, and they want to do something, and if someone else comes and suggests something, maybe something a little different, or even to add on, and they may not. Well, who do you think you are? We're princes. We're king's sons. Go on your way. They may think like that. Someone could be out of pride or whatever. But because they were very humble, they were very pure boys, very simple boys. Even though they were in the royal family, they were very overwhelmed to have the darshan of Lord Shiva. And there's a beautiful description of Lord Shiva. He's very beautiful, very attractive personality. He's the expansion of the Supreme Lord. Very, very attractive. So very rare to get the darshan of Lord Shiva. So they were very blessed. And so they were chanting. And they were chanting. So now we're coming here. So as I said, very interesting story, that they were chanting these prayers given by Lord Shiva. Previously, they had gone, the idea, do the pasya, go under the water, sit there and, offer some, meditate and offer some prayers to the Lord. But now they had adopted the prayers given by Lord Shiva. So this is even more powerful for them. Even so powerful for them that the Supreme Lord appeared directly before them. That is unbelievable, just unbelievable. Unbelievable mercy that the Lord, and the description in the previous, I think in the beginning of this chapter, was that the Lord descended and appeared before them directly riding on the back of Garuda. Garuda. Garuda is an expansion, actually. He appears in this world. I gave a class the other day in Garuda about the appearance of Garuda and Aruna, his brother. And so I gave a whole story. But Garuda, ultimately, he appears in the world in a certain type of way, but actually he is before that, just like Krishna appears in a certain family, Lord Balaram, they appear in Lord Chaitanya, appear in certain families, but before that, they are the Supreme Personality of God, and they choose to appear in the world. So Garuda also appears, and he became the mount of Lord Vishnu. Garuda is quite famous. I know Indonesia, their main airline is called Garuda Airlines. I've flown many times on Garuda Airlines. And in Bali, when you go to Bali, they've made a big statue. It's about like 10 stories high, and maybe higher, maybe 15. And there's a big Garuda, and on top of the Garuda, there's Vishnu who is sitting on top of the Garuda. He's like 15, 20 stories high. You can see from all over Bali. Of course, we don't like that. The murtis are out in the open like that, where birds can fly. But nevertheless, they've done that. So this is a big Vishnu riding on Garuda. So this is how the Lord appeared to the Prachetas, in this form. Lord can appear in any form. So many unlimited forms the Lord has. And he can choose whatever way he wants to come. We know Lord Varad, Matsya, Lord Kurma, so many different ways the Lord comes. And now he's decided to appear as riding on Garuda as Lord Vishnu. And so he's come to bless the boys. And we read this previously in this chapter. Just to try to find. The Lord blessed all the Prachetas, saying, "My dear princes, by my mercy you can enjoy all the facilities of this world as well as the heavenly world. Indeed, you can enjoy all of them without hindrance and with full strength for 1,000,000 celestial years. Thereafter, you will develop unadulterated devotional service unto me and be free from all material contamination. That time, being completely unattached to material enjoyment in the so-called heavenly planets, as well as in the hellish planets, you will return home back to Godhead." So this is the blessing. So he's appeared before them, and he's given instruction to them in regard to, he's very happy that they have recited the prayers given to them by Lord Shiva. "Those who offer me the prayers composed by Lord Shiva, both in the morning and the evening, will be given benedictions by me." This is what he says. "In this way, they can both fulfill their desires and attain good intelligence. You have executed the orders of your father, executed the orders of Lord Shiva very faithfully. Your attractive qualities will be celebrated all over the world." So he's blessing them, and then he's saying that you'll go back, and he actually instructed them, you get married, and he told the story of one sage, Kanu, who had a child with, who was that one? What was her name? There was an Apsara that Lord Indra sent. Anyway, there was a story, and he instructed them, Kamlochan, I think her name was, he instructed them to marry the daughter of this Muni, Kanu Muni, wasn't it? Is that correct? Kanu? Oh. I think. Huh? The daughter was Manisha, right? Yeah. It was Kanu, though, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And his wife, and his wife's name? Yeah. Pamlocha, yeah, that's what I thought. And Manisha. So the Lord, he instructed the Prachetas. It's very unusual. I think Prabhupada spoke about this in one purport. Very unusual that I think there were how many Prachetas? Eight brothers? Was that like 8 brothers? Huh? 10 brothers. 10 brothers. Okay, so there were 10 brothers. So very unusual request by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He said, "All you 10 brothers marry this one girl, Manisha. She must have been a very qualified girl. All of you together." They're very unusual. But if it's sanctioned, especially by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this can eventuate. We know Draupadi married that five Pandava brothers. So it's very uncommon, but still it can happen. So in this case, it happened. They married, and he was the child produced was supposed to be become a very great elevated personality. So this is the story, and so now he's appeared before. He's blessing them that he instructed them, you get married to this girl, and you go back and rule over the kingdom of your father, and you will do that for, what did he say, 1,000,000 years. So in other words, a long time, and then you'll go back home, back to Godhead. So this was the case. Now the Prachetas have become very elevated devotees, and by the mercy of Lord Shiva, just by that tapasya and those prayers, those mantras. And so but nevertheless, they accepted the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They got married, ruled over the kingdom, but they ruled over it, and this comes to this verse today, they ruled over it in a very Krishna conscious way, not being very overly attached to the material aspect of ruling over the kingdom. And then Prabhupada quotes this verse from Rupa Goswami, Anashaktasya Vishayan, Jatahan Upayunjita, Nimanna Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagya Muchate, Prapanchikataya Buddhya Hari Sambandhe Vashna, Mumukshivi Paritigo, Vairagyam Palgukalchate. When one is not attached to anything, but at the same time accepts everything in relation to Krishna, one is rightly situated above possessiveness. On the other hand, one who rejects everything without knowledge of its relationship to Krishna is not as complete in his renunciation. So this is from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami, a very famous verse. Prabhupada quote it quite often. And so this is the right mood in Krishna consciousness. One has a duty to perform. They perform that duty to the best of their ability, but the consciousness is different from a materialistic person. They're doing their duties. They're looking to profit. They're looking to enjoy so many different things they're looking for. But the Krishna conscious personality is not looking. He doesn't have that same attitude. Doing his duty to the best of the ability, whatever needs to be done shall get done with proper care and attention. Make sure that everything is all right. But at the same time, he's more concentrating on the spiritual side of things. Actually, he accepts this responsibility not for himself, but on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's doing his duty on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, actually, Prabhupada says, the Krishna conscious person knows very well that everything belongs to Krishna, and then he is free from feelings of possessiveness. And this is someone who's actually Krishna conscious. And Prabhupada one time gave the example. He said, just like someone can walk along and see, one person sees a wallet, and then he runs over, takes that wallet, puts it, and he runs away. Another person sees the wallet, and he just ignores it, just leaves it, walks on. Then a third person sees the wallet, goes over, opens the wallet, sees, oh, here's who it belongs to, then goes and seeks out that person and gives the wallet back to the owner of the wallet. So who is the best in this scenario? Which person do you think is the best person? The one who just ran off with it? The one who ignored it? So the materialists are like that. They're trying to enjoy everything, taking the property of someone else and just trying to enjoy it. So this is like the materialist. Materialists are fit in that category. The thief, actually. He's like a thief. You know, he didn't go out of his way to steal it, but he saw it there. So nevertheless, he's in a category of thief, maybe a little bit lesser than someone who purposely steals it, but still in the category of the thief. So the materialist, the world is not actually, doesn't belong to them. It's Krishna's property, but they're taking it and trying to enjoy it so many ways. So this is like a thief, without giving recognition, without knowing how to do it properly. They don't even care about these things. So this is like a thief mentality. This is the first person. The second one is the example of who? Those who are impersonalists. We don't get involved. We're detached from these things. We don't want to be there. We don't want to go away. We just don't want to be. So the impersonalists like that. So this is like the person who says, we pretend it doesn't even exist. I didn't even see it. Right? So this is the impersonalist. So God has no form, no personality, no activities, no nothing. This is impersonal. But the one who goes and, oh, this is the property of so-and-so, let me take it back and offer it back to him. So this is like the category of devotee. Devotee sees everything belongs to Krishna. Let me try to use, this is the principle, Nibbana Krishna Sambade Yuktam Vairagya Muchyate, using everything in Krishna's service. So one has to be trained up very nicely how to do that to the topmost perfection. In the beginning, we may be a bit confused, therefore we seek out the advice of the Shastras, and we seek out the advice of the Vaishnavas, the Guru. So many ways we can seek the advice of how to use things nicely in Krishna's service. And we get trained up, we learn how to do these things. And as we advance more and more, we become very perfect. And they're very, very advanced devotees. They're so perfect, they just don't. And here, in this verse today, this is the mentality the Prachetas are starting to offer prayers. The Prachetas spoke as well, and they're starting to offer prayers in glorification of the Lord who's standing before them on the back of, on the shoulders of Garuda. And they're saying when the mind is fixed on you, the world of duality appears meaningless. And this is what Lord Shiva appreciated about the Prachetas. He actually states that, if you read back in the preview, he says that I appreciate you because you're all together. You're all united. You're not divided. All of you together, what there were 10 brothers. And so all of them had a united goal to go there, do the tapasya, and glorify the Supreme Personality of God. And all of them in a united way decided that. So Lord Shiva appreciated that. You are united. You want to serve Krishna. You want to glorify Krishna. So your mind is singularly fixed. It doesn't have duality. The world is full of duality. And so, so for want of knowledge of that one unifying principle, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, people accept out of ignorance the duality of the world. So they're always in duality. Something is good and then something is bad. And you're always looking for the good. As you go down and down the heavenly planets, maybe you get more good and some bad, and you come to the earth, good Kali Yuga, how much bad is there, how much good is there. You go in the species of life, even gets the bad becomes more, the good becomes less. So but there's always dualities. Even the very same thing, what was good before, after in time becomes bad, becomes a bad thing. I love eating gulab jamuns. But they're so good. But if you eat too many of them, then they become so bad. So, of course, eating prasadam can never be bad. But, I remember Prabhupada said that one time in Melbourne. Someone asked a question to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, is eating too much prasadam bad? And the Prabhupada thought for a moment. He said, well, eating prasadam can never be bad. But eating too much is not very good. So I cannot say it is bad because it's a prasadam. But it's not very good. So that very same, but I'm talking in a relative sense, in that, if you eat too much of a thing, even if someone eats too much ice cream, and that same thing that was previously good becomes a bad thing. So everything is dualistic, and it's never ending. And it goes on through many lifetimes. And so for want of true knowledge of the position of Krishna, people have accepted this duality and are trying to eke out some type of enjoyment from this. But when you actually situate in Krishna consciousness, this is what the Prachetas say here. Your transcendental form is full of transcendental bliss, and they say that now we're seeing you. And your form is transcendental bliss, so much bliss there that all this other thing is just meaningless. They're just not interested in it anymore. You become full in yourself, then it's just everything else is superfluous. You just can't have anything other thing. If you're full, if I feed you a nice big huge feast, even if someone were to present you with more or something else, you just couldn't take it, nor would you want it. You feel fully satisfied, fully blissful. So someone in Krishna consciousness is like that, cannot be situated in duality. So this is what the Prachetas are saying there. Therefore, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. And then they just mention about you appear as Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Vishnu. You're maintaining in the world, you're creating, you're destroying. creation, maintaining and annihilating the cosmic manifestation. So they just add something a little bit extra. So it's a very, very. So the conclusion is that Prabhupada says here that a pure devotee appears to engage in material activities in the service of the Lord. He knows very well that material enjoyment or sense gratification has no use whatsoever. So the more one goes up in Krishna consciousness, the more one becomes disinterested. That is actually a symptom of advancement. How much you're still attracted, or how much you're not attracted to the material things, but so attracted to the spiritual things. It will go back and forward in the beginning stages. But as you become more advanced, you become more steady in your attraction to Krishna. So Hare Krishna, thank you for coming to class and listening. Today also, of course, is the official day for the Govardhana Puja. We're celebrating here tomorrow, of course. Govardhana Puja today is the official day here. And Govardhana Puja, Go Puja. You have cows here? Yeah. Go Puja, Go Krida. All these days today. I was reading on the calendar. What else? Tulsi Vivahas today? Huh? No, not today. It's coming up. Yeah. And what else did I read there? Huh? The Go Puja, Go Krida, Go Puja. I mean, you do the. You're going to do tomorrow? Go Puja. Go Krida means generally at New Governor we feed the cows. Go Krida means some pastime, some activity. So generally we feed the cow. They bring up carrots and they bring all sorts of feed the cow. So that's Go Krida. That's Go Puja. Of course, you worship Mother Cow. And what is Govardhana Puja? We'll say more tomorrow. And I read also Bali Daityaraja Puja today. Daityaraja, that's the festival where Bali Maharaj is honored. It's the day when he asked Lord Vamanadev for a benediction that he reside in his kingdom at the entrance of his kingdom. So that's another story. Bali, what's it called? Dvaita. And also today is the appearance day of a great devotee, Rasikananda, who was a disciple of Shamananda Prabhu. Shamananda, who was formerly Dukhi Krishna. You remember Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasacharya, and Shamananda. And Rasikananda became the disciple of Shamananda, very famous acharya. He was married, but a very famous acharya, especially on the Orissa, Bengal side. He came to Vrindavan. He traveled with his guru Shamananda for some time. He went there, but he made many devotees, and he was a very powerful preacher. You can read the story. You can look it up. Rasikananda, a great acharya. So it's appearance day anniversary. He converted many people to become Vaishnava, even the Mohammedans, great kings. Even one Mohammedan was very envious of him and sent some very nasty big bull elephant to trample on him. Somehow or other, this is a nice story that he tamed the elephant and the elephant bowed down before him and he initiated him. I think he gave him the name Baladev. He called the elephant Baladev Das. So the elephant was initiated by Rasikananda. So there's a lot of stories of Rasikananda. He had a very elevated, advanced devotee wife also. They went everywhere together and preaching the message of and doing the bidding for his guru. So he's so many days today where we can observe and read on. So thank you very much. I thought I'd mention all that because it's there on the calendar. So does anyone have any question or comment? Sorry, say again. Who's in the category? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Krishna still comes, and when there's not someone qualified, every now and again, Krishna himself takes the post of Brahma. So someone can become very qualified personality, just like can go to Indra or can go to Brahma, and they're doing even more. There are many residents in Brahma Loka who are there by dint of their tapasya and a performance of yajna. They're not pure devotees, but they're there. They're there. You can read it, especially in the Brihad Bhagavata Reader. They're doing the yagya and puja and all types of things. They're very elevated personality. So some entity who is the most elevated person in the universe after doing all these types of activities on the karma kanda section of things can become Brahma. So this is explained by Vishwanath Chakrabarti Acharyas have explained different categories of Brahma. And then another category, as I said, is the jnana, that someone who's become very advanced by their tapasya, by their study, their knowledge, and so on and so forth. That person can become Brahma. Another one who's a devotee, but that can be elevated and become Brahma. But of those who are devotees, Vishwanath Chakrabarti splits it in two. Someone who's not fully perfect, a devotee, but not fully perfect, feeling maybe a little bit independent, a little bit independently powerful. They, they come back as a Brahma again, and then if they perfect themselves, they come back to God. So all these different categories, that one can become a Brahma. That answer your question? Yeah. Yes, bro.
Not even demons in Narayana, and I would not say that Narayana is equally worshipped.
Well, Narayana is powerful, and there's many instances where everyone respected Narayana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Ravana. They all respected Naramuni. And so I think that when Prabhupada is indicating there is that the general principle for someone, and the six Goswamis talk about that in the Sad Astakam, when those prayers by the six Goswamis, they say that those who are very elevated devotees, they're appreciated by the devotees and the ruffians even. They're so elevated because they're actually compassionate to all. So generally speaking, I mean, there may be an instance here or there that someone really demented type of person that even is envious of even these great personalities. But because they're so elevated and so nice, that even the demons appreciate them. And so I think that's what Prabhupada means there. So, but that would generally only apply to great personalities like Narad Muni, great big personalities like that they are respected on both sides. But for us, ordinary, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says there's different levels of, there's living entities, there's pious living entities, there's sinful living entities. Then there's those who can go follow the spiritual path. Then there's those who actually become devotees, and of the devotees, those become very advanced devotees. So there's different categories. And he says there's a difference between an ordinary devotee and a very great devotee. And great devotees can do so many wonderful things, just like we were talking about Rasikananda, even the Mohammedans. He actually made many Mohammedans disciples. Even that one that sent the elephant to kill him, we read that he became his disciple in the end. So someone who had initially had some malice towards him, when he saw what he did with the elephant, that turned him. He said, "Oh, wow, what have I done?" He actually was remorseful, and he actually became his disciple. So he made disciples of great kings, Mohammedans, all sorts of different people. Rasikananda, very famous acharya in our Gaudiya line. So someone who's very, very elevated, generally this is the situation that everyone is favorably disposed to them, even the ruffians. Maybe in some cases, not initially, but after some association, they become. So we read that also, that initially they're antagonistic. The dacoit with Lord Nityananda, he went to try to steal from Lord Nityananda. He hid there with his dacoit gang, and they were unsuccessful over so many attempts. But then in the end, he realized that Lord Nityananda was not an ordinary person, and he surrendered to him, became his devout follower. So sometimes it's the case that Jagai and Madai, they were throwing stones at the Kirtan party, but then they became. So initially in the beginning we have, but then the great devotees' effect is so powerful that they turn. Even those types of individuals, they turn to become even disciples. So that's generally the case. And sometimes even they don't have that feeling. Kamsa didn't have that feeling. Nara greatly respected Nara, and Ravana greatly respected, and everyone respected Answer your question. Okay. Yeah, one last question. Yes.
Maharaj, for class. You were talking about the principle of Yukta Vairagya, and I was thinking, like, it's seen that sometimes different devotees have different ideas of what can and can't be used in Krishna service. Depends, I guess, maybe on how conservative they may be. So I was wondering, are there any criteria by which you can judge whether something can be used or can't be used in Krishna service?
Yes, well, I mean, you have all these shastras giving description, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and other shastras by the acharyas, read books like Srimad Bhagavatam. You have the instructions of the Guru, what can be used. I'm training you. Prabhupada used to tell us quite often, I'm training you how to render first-class devotional service to Krishna. And he sometimes he would, don't mind, but now I have to correct you, and I will explain to you. Now, how do the Gurus know? By the training from their Guru, and also from the statements of the Shastra. So, more you read, the more you can understand. And then you'll take advice also from other devotees who may be perhaps more experienced. But the general principle, you err on the side of caution. Err on the side of caution. If you don't know and if you don't completely understand, always err on the side of caution. If you think that this might be a little, what's the word, controversial or whatever, then go to the caution side of things. That generally Vaishnavas follow that type of principle. Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari.